Rhaenyra will do what she has to do. And what she has to do will be dire.
House of the Dragons is just drama! So we need to really unpack this. I've got a lot I want to unpack, unravel, Easter eggs, break down. Let's go through this because this is a lot. I really want to go through this and break this down for you guys because this is insane. First and foremost, we see Alicent with her son on the throne. You know, and it's not the son of Aegon. It's not Aegon. No, it's Aemond. Aemond's on the throne. And it's very interesting because the reason why this is so significant is Aemond plays a big part throughout this whole battle. I don't know what Aegon does, but Aegon doesn't do much. I have to say the least. And you could tell that just from the beginning, we know that, oh no, Aemond? No, he's going to play a big battle going forward. Him and Vhagar have a lot they're going to have to do, especially when it comes to the Vale. Now, one thing we know is that Aemond's going to have to go to Harrenhal. Interestingly enough, who's in Harrenhal? Daemon. So, in the books, of course,
Harrenhal.
Apparently so.
You know, without spoiling too much, you know, Daemon is not there no more. He's not at Harrenhal, and Aemond goes with Sir Criston, the Kingmaker, to Harrenhal. What's interesting about this scene and the other scene of what you see where Aemond embraces his mother is the fact that over at Harrenhal is where, of course, he has those dreams and visions and stuff that happens because you know that Daemon went through that same process. So you could probably imagine that probably even these two scenes we're seeing may not be real. Maybe the first one's real, him sat on the throne because Aegon's not there. But secondly, the second scene of him embracing his mum, I don't think is real. You know, and I need to unpack the fact that that embrace is something that he really wanted. And that's why we feel as though it probably is a vision because of the fact that he always had, you know, mummy issues with his mum. I don't think they had a connection, and he tried to find that. If it's in the brothels, you see him cuddling a woman. He's cuddling! So you can imagine that that's something that he's really wanted and died for, and he's not really had the chance for. So that's probably what he got from that dream. So the interesting thing about this is the fact that when Aemond goes to Harrenhal, he does not see Daemon Targaryen. They're ready for what? They're ready for smoke.
Why are you running?
You know, he's looking for Caraxes, he's looking for Daemon, they're not there. So he takes over that side of the reach. He takes over Harrenhal. What is a big question mark, and we can see from the other pictures with Daemon, is that, you know, early he's supposed to be over at Maidenpool. You know, he might get his thing along with Nettles, but we don't know.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
No. You know, we're hearing a lot of rumors, so we're not too sure. But one big thing is the fact that Aemond's big role is the east side. The side near King's Landing where he's meant to really have a footprint of the Vale, and there's a lot that he'll see because what will happen is that he'll fight the peeps, the people of the Vale, the Riverlands. He's going to fight the Riverlands, which is a big thing. And he has the Lannisters to back him up, you know, so that's going to be his main goal going forward. The Lannisters are going to be in forefront and they're going to get the surprise of their life. But first, they're really going to take some good victories before they get the surprise going further and forward. So that's one scene there. The other scene, which was just insane, we need to further dissect, is Lord Corlys. Lord Corlys. Lord Corlys, the battles with Lord Corlys are going to be insane. You know, to break this down, you see him fighting on the forefront. You know, his fighting for the Valyrian Driftmark. The Driftmark war is going to be tested. And who's going to test that? You know, the big test is going to be with the Three Sisters. the Three Sisters is going to be a big test, because the Three Sisters who they have going forward is, they call the Triarch, where they sent 90 ships. You know, they have the bloodiest sea battle called the Battle of Gullet. It's going to be a bloody scene. They are going to terrorize the Valerian people in Driftmark, including various. They really take a third off the Valerian fleet. Whoo! That's going to be crazy. They're going to pepper the Valerians. And what's very interesting is a lot of people are going to be shocked. We're going to see a lot of hidden kids that you guys didn't know of. You've seen a bit, but you're going to see them a bit more as they grow older, especially Rhaenyra's kids, Viserys, Aegon. Them two are going to, they're meant to be hidden in Pentos, but who finds them? Spoiler alert. It could change, probably not. It will be the Triarchy on the way, and they take them as bait. You know, well, they take one, the other escapes in Aegon, but they take Viserys for sure, and then they go ahead and fight Corlys and his crew. What's interesting about this fight going further is that because it's so bloody, both sides lose. There's no fun in war. Like, this is one thing that you're gonna see in the show. A lot of people are gonna really get blooded, and it's gonna be wild, because you would think a lot of battles, and we see even in Game of Thrones, you see houses, armies unite, go against each other, and there's a winner. But a lot of these battles are not going to be very clear cut. You know, even though the Triarchy are going to come with huge damage, they're going to, you know, it's going to cause huge damage to themselves. They take a lot of wealth from Lord Corlys, but, you know, they're really going to end up in their own civil war, sorting themselves out, because they'll have to return back, because they won't be able to, of course, clear off the full Valerian war at all. Driftmark war is going to be, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So that's going to be a huge battle going forward. You know, it's going to be bigger than Blackwater. We saw the Battle of Blackwater. We saw how it was with the whole wildfire that Tyrion was able to throw at Stannis and his crew. This is going to be a huge battle, a huge sea battle. And this probably will span through maybe season 3 and 4. But this is going to be another thing that we can't wait to see. So what else do we see? We see, of course, Rhaenyra Targaryen. You know, Rhaenyra Targaryen, she's going to be in a lot of turmoil, going back and forth, wins and losses. Even for those, you can already tell that she's going to take King's Landing, but she's going to be very, 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 very confused. Jaded is the best word to say. Because as she goes through this battle, she has to understand who can she trust, who can't she trust. You know, we think about the Dragon Rider, she omitted the oath and the hue. You know, there's going to be huge tests for Rhaenyra going forward for this. You know, one big revelation she's going to have to be ready for is that around probably the end of the seasons, maybe the Battle of Tumbleton. You know, that's going to be one of the... I think that might be season 3 finale. But the Battle of Tumbleton is going to be a rough battle where she's going to see the true faces of some of her alliances, which is in your oath, in your hue, and see if they're really, really loyal to her through these battles that she's going to have, you know, going forward in the Reach, because the Reach is going to be a big task ahead, you know, especially when she's going to go against the Greens with the high towers. So this is going to be a huge battle going forward. Aemond Hightower. Aemond Hightower is going to play a big faction of House of the Dragons. Huge faction. Where do we even start with Aemond Hightower? It starts off, I think, one of the biggest battles and notable battles earlier will be the Battle of the Honey Wine. They look like they're losing against the Blacks. They get to the Reach. They look like it's looking like a tough situation. And what happens? Prince Daron. Prince Daron comes with Tyrion, and this will be a big role for Prince Daron. He wins the battle. And I think those two, that combination of the fact that he'll be taken care of in Old Town by the High Towers and really brought up, and they're gonna help bring him up. He's gonna be with that fast and young dragon Tyrion, who we call the Blue Queen. That is gonna be a huge, monumental battle, because you're gonna see the revelation of this particular prince. Who this prince is, how much of an effect he makes. It's going to be a huge, huge battle. Now, going further on, you see some images that has leaked, which is a bit shocking. Because who do you see? You see Aemond meeting Daemon. How Aemond meeting Daemon? Because in the books, that doesn't happen. So it makes you think maybe they'll do a few twists. I believe that could be in reference to, Battle of Tumbleton. We're not too sure, but I feel as though they might change things. It might help to fast forward things as well. Maybe they need to put him in a few plots just to make things a bit more busy for a lot of these characters. Because I think one of the things about this is that while some are going to be more active, less aren't really going to have the chance to. So maybe they want to mix it up. But one interesting thing I want to say about Daemon is, if they do change his storyline, how much do they change, Because he's meant to have a love life a bit with Nettles, which is a bit weird because the last Nettles we've seen was very young. Maybe she might grow a bit older now. But that's going to be a big faction and a big thing going forward. We don't know how they're going to do that. Are they going to keep the same character? Are they going to change the whole story? That's going to be a very interesting aspect. But no, he will have to return regardless to help Rhaenyra take over King's Landing, So that's going to be a big role for him going forward. And of course, we know he's going to have to face the big battle, which has to happen. I think that's, you can't change the story too much because he's going to have to fight Aemond at the end of the day. That really is the Dance of the Dragons. The famous ending of the stab in the eye, which I don't say too much about. I want you guys to really enjoy it and see what happens. So what else do we see? Oh, we see the Winter Wolves. I have to say, the Winter Wolves play such a big, big part in this whole thing. In general, one of the big battles in the Vale, where we have, the Riverlands fighting, is the fact that when they go against the Lannisters are tough, big army, but they end up getting destroyed. Why? The Winter Wolves, bro. The Winter Wolves play a big part, and they say they're probably the most notorious and toughest and, probably scariest fighters, because these guys are willing to die, and they give the Lannisters a tough time. I think the Winter Wolves play a huge part for the battles overall. You see that as, going further in the Reach, there's going to have to be a collision between them and the High Towers. There's going to have to be a connection eventually where all these guys fight, especially at the Battle of the Tumbleton. Big battle ahead. But yes, the Winter Wolves will play a big faction. So you can imagine going further, the Northmen will further come in later on. Because I feel currently you don't get as much as the North, and I think that's going to be tough for Rhaenyra. The fact that Rhaenyra is going to fight a lot without a lot of the North army. A lot of South battles. You think about your Essos, the Reach, further in the Reach. A lot of the time it's going to be a lot of Southern battles within the Reach, but further on you see the North slowly come over and do a lot of vanquishing. I feel like that's going to be the theme for season 3 and season 4 going forward. So that's going to be interesting. So yes, and you then see a skull. I have my theories for this. I have my theories that this skull has to be someone's kid. And where it says that Alicent says not even Daenerys, Rhaenyra will do what she needs to. That says a lot. No, because what did Alicent mean by Rhaenyra will do what she needs to? Alicent has seen that Alicent herself, who has literally given up. They show an image of her. She's tried to literally, she literally behind the Green's back said, you know what, just take over. Take over. Just don't kill no one. She wanted peace at this point. And that's her theme. Her theme is really, at this point where she wanted peace, but since she can't get peace, what else can she do but fight? So you can imagine that in her head, she's trying as much as possible to get peace, but she knows that, and she's seen that Rhaenyra is not going to give up. Rhaenyra is literally out for blood. Rhaenyra is out for blood, and because she's not going to give up, Rhaenyra is definitely driven for war. And I feel as though she's going to kill a kid if need be. Like, she told Alicent, look, I want the head. I need the head. Not even I need the head of Aegon. So maybe I feel as though the head or skull she gets is going to be a wrong skull of someone else. I think she might think it's Aegon's skull. It might be one of the kids. It might be one of Alicent's kids. Because we hear that they go through a lot as well. Especially once Rhaenyra gets to King's Landing. Maybe that might be a bit too early. They might change the story a bit. But I feel as though she might feel as though she's got one of the kids. Maybe they pretend it's Prince Daeron. Remember that one of the footages show, and there's rumors that Aemond Hightower gives Prince Daeron to Daemon, pretending that is Prince Daeron. Maybe. But it's very interesting to see who could that be. But I definitely believe that she believes she's got one of the kids, and that's why she has the skull in the fire. But we could be wrong. It could be maybe one of the kids they've already taken already. We don't know. But I think as though going forward, it's going to be exciting to see. And we also see Alan. This is another interesting aspect as well. Alan of Hull, might as well say Alan Valerion, because from the books, and I feel what Corlys will do is make Alan heir to Driftmark. You see him fight in the battle, and I think he's gonna feel it as well. He's gonna be part of that huge battle, the Battle of Gullet, fighting the Triarchy. So you can imagine this is going to be action-packed and insane. Where do we go from here, guys? Where do we go from here? This battle is going to be ridiculous. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how much do they change from the actual books compared to what we see in the series. But I think it's a lot of action, a lot of war, a lot of action, and you guys are just going to have to enjoy it. So guys, make sure for more breakdowns. We're going to have more breakdowns as more images come out. I'm going to break down, give you guys Easter eggs, give you guys the real deal. Break it down for you guys. Make sure, of course, you like, comment, share, subscribe.